I'd like to welcome everybody to the June 2nd, 2025 meeting. Be seeking to go in council with closed session pursuant to 143, 318, 11A6 to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or an employee or a prospective public officer or employee, or to hear or investigate a complaint, charge, or grievance by or against an individual public officer or employee. Do I have a motion from the council?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to welcome everybody out to the June 2nd, 2025 meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, thank you all for coming out tonight. Does any member of council have a conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest in regards to any item on the agenda? So please state at this time. Mr. Nern?
No, sir.
Mr. Hargraves? Mr. Corbett?
No, sir.
Mr. Boswell? Nope. All right, moving on. Approval of the draft agenda. Does anybody have anything that needs to be added to the draft agenda?
I think we'd like to make one change.
Yes, sir.
Just a second. Which one is it? The 12.2 staff report and resolution to close the dredging fund. I'd like to move that to the 13 June meeting or the July meeting, which is appropriate.
I think it would be appropriate to move it to the pending, waiting to see what the pending state rule is.
13 July?
Yes, sir.
Or 13 June, rather.
It would be
sorry.
June
Mhm.
possibly, but it's
Yeah.
according to when the state comes through with theirs.
Correct.
So we'll just put it on disposition of directives and go
Okay.
from there as
Okay.
noted. Anything else?
I'd like to make a motion to change the July 7th meeting to July 14th.
You had a motion. Do I have a second before we have any
I'll-
discussion?
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion? Just look at moving to July the 7th to the 14th, same time. Everything will be the same. Just moving up one week due
Correct.
to holidays and things
It's
going
a
on
holiday
there.
weekend.
It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anything else for the draft agenda? All right. If not, do I have a motion to approve the draft agenda?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to the general council discussion. Does any member of council have anything for this?
Yes.
Mike's off.
Now the light came on. Good, thank you. Yes, I have just a quick thing. I just passed out to council three pieces of paper, really, and I want to talk about them just for a second. At the last council meeting we had in May, Mayor Phillips asked council and staff to work together in getting the word out to town visitors via rental companies regarding parking situation on the island. And I told the mayor at that meeting that we're working on that. And at that time, we had been working in an effort to coordinate information available to our visitors from our police department, fire department, in addition to adding information from our parking company, AutoConnect. We got everything out for Memorial Day, which was good. We're very happy with that. And as you all know, on our island, through the summer, every week in the summer season, it's important to have the essential information because we have like a whole new population comes on the island every week. And it's good to have the proper information to assist our visitors to have an enjoyable experience. More important this season, this year, is the parking plan and the paid parking plan. Now, there's three ways our visitors acquire information. And we have made sure that this information is found at the rental companies, the three we have on the island, and the businesses on the island. And also these things are available on the website. But the first one is our police brochure. Now, the police have been putting out this brochure for a number of years. And it is a good brochure. If you haven't seen it, haven't read it, get a hold of it. It's excellent. It really helps someone who is coming to our island, whether a visitor, a day tripper, or somebody coming to rent. The rental companies, two of the rental companies put this in every packet they give out to every rental. One does not, but has it right there to give them if necessary. And the businesses have these also. So this is a very important part of our communication, Mr. Mayor. Now, the fire department has a brochure that they have been using for a number of years, and it is it's on rip currents. It's on rip currents. What they are doing is they're changing their style right now, and instead of this brochure, they're going to do something 2 steps during the season. You've seen their poker chips that they give out, and on the back of those there's QR code. And the current one that just came out is one that they give out on the beach to people. Instead of now, as the season goes on a little bit, they're beginning to work on it now, where we will have our own fire people doing a video off one of these that talk about beach safety, rip currents, and so on. So they're doing something different along with these poker chips. So these are something that they're working on. And the final one is what I worked on with Auto Connect. And what we wanted to do with them, and this is the blue one that you have, both sides. What we wanted to do with them on one side is how to pay for parking. One of the biggest questions our businesses had, and some of our rental companies had people coming in and saying, how do I pay for parking? And they looked at them and said, we don't know, or we haven't done it, or something like that. They were ecstatic to get this thing that they could just hand anybody that walks in and asks any questions about paid parking. The other side of it gives the highlights of the Sunset Beach parking plan. So these are all not perfect, but what I found as I worked with these is that they all complemented one another. They all dealt with different topics that our visitors, our day trippers who come to the island, or rental people should know. So we're going to go with these this year, and I think if visitors take the time to read these documents, it'll certainly help them to have a more enjoyable experience. As far as parking now, renters obviously park at the rental properties, and that's not a too difficult one. For day trippers now, we have been advertising our website, and obviously we've got some pretty darn good signage on the island now to help people understand where to park. And of course, we've designated parking places to get people used to that. So I think, Mr. Mayor, we followed through pretty well, and I think that people coming to the island now will have some good information to help them adapt to not only what we've been doing, but the new thing with parking and the paid parking. All right. Any questions for me?
Any questions?
No.
Okay. I'd like to say thank you to the town staff, to the Committee to Honor American Veterans, and to all our community for the support we had last Monday, a week ago, for the Memorial Day ceremony. So thank you very much for that participation and support. Ken?
And the last one was just, John and I attended the Brunswick County Shoreline Protection meeting on May 21st. There isn't much to report. We again gave a report on dredging, on Palm Cove dredging project. Lisa has reported to us on that. And the main issue for most of the beach communities this summer, and it's not for us so much, is new dredging projects and beach renourishment. A lot of beach renourishment going on the beaches on the east coast of Brunswick County. And there was no discussion on offshore wind. Our expert on offshore wind was not there. So, Johnny, anything to add to that?
No, that covers it.
That was pretty simple. Thanks. I'm good.
Aaron, go ahead.
Just need a minute. In June, July of 2023, I started feeling bad. And in August, I ended up in the emergency room. And since then, I've had a number of surgeries and procedures. I know you're not interested in my medical information, but I want to thank my wife, Susan Nern, for the care she has taken of me. Susan is a career nurse and nurse manager She's with me every minute of this. She translates what the doctors say. All the days in the hospital, she slept in a hospital recliner. And just invaluable. So, thank you, Susan. I love you.
Is that it?
Thank you.
Mike, you got anything, bud?
Well, thank you.
All right. If not, we'll be moving on next. We'll be going to our public hearing. We have a council action coming. They give me a script to read. You know I'm not a script reader, so I'll do the best I can with what y'all want it done. It's supposed to be done by Robert's Rules of Orders, which we don't stay with all the time, but we're going to be doing the public hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to receive public comments regarding the fiscal year 2025-26 budget. Be looking for the council to take this action after the public hearing if that's what they perceive. Madam Clerk, has everything been properly advertised? All right, I have a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
No discussion? All right, public hearing is now open. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now open up. Members of the public wishing to speak in regards to this budget are welcome to come up to the podium. Please state your name and address. We have a 3-minute time limit. I'll try to be respectful and let you speak if you want to. Just try to tie it up as we get to the 3 minutes if there is. Please direct all your comments to the council as a whole. And if there's a lot of them in the same question, which I don't see a lot of people here, so I don't think it would, but if they are, we would just ask that everybody try to be on the same page so we can get through this. Floor is now open. If anybody would like to speak in regards to the budget, you're welcome to come to the front. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, members of Town Council, staff. My name is Mark Kramer. I live at 902 North Shore Drive West. I am Vice President of the Sunset Beach Taxpayers Association, and I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of that association. Our president, Ken Seckley, wrote you on May 11, urging you to cut 3 cents off the town's 16 cents tax rate on ad valorem property taxes. On behalf of the Sunset Beach Taxpayers Association, I respectfully reiterate that request and hope that you will seriously consider it before you vote tonight on the budget for FY 25-26. As you look at the budget, you get the feeling that the town is awash in revenues. And since those funds come from the town's taxpayers, we believe that any excess revenues should be returned to those taxpayers. Now, why would I say the town is awash in new revenues? Well, some of it goes back to what occurred 2 years ago with the revaluation and the decision not to reduce the tax rate, which generated $1.5 million additional revenue on the ad valorem taxes for the town. That keeps on giving every year. $1.5 million more comes in versus what would have come in had you had a revenue neutral tax rate. Now, as you all know, many of the other towns, county, across the state, and then this area lowered their tax rate after that revaluation. So, in addition to that, for the upcoming budget, general fund revenues are projected to increase $1.56 million, 14.6% increase year over year in revenues. The largest part of that increase is $875,000 projected to come in on assessments for the dredging project. Now, this is basically the first of 3 similar payments that should be coming in on the dredging project. So 3 years of $875,000 coming in. And this money is, as I understand it, is basically to pay back the general fund for the money the general fund fronted to do the dredging project, with, of course, these taxpayers in the affected 330 taxpayers paying those assessments. Now, you look at the general fund is at 94%. Apparently the recommended level is 75% of your annual budget. We're now at 94%. So what are we going to do with the money that's coming in to replenish the general fund, general funds already replenished. So it's our position that that money ought to be returned to the taxpayers. It appears to be in excess. Now, there's another item that was coming up tonight, but now it's been postponed on the dredging project, closing out the dredging project. And if you read the material that was ready for that, apparently the town put up roughly 3.3 million, needed 2.5 million, got $883,000 in interest. So have roughly $1 million extra that they hadn't anticipated. Kind of found it in the couch or something. I don't know. I don't understand how you could have $1 million you hadn't anticipated. But instead of returning that to the taxpayers, the town wants to spend it, which is what's in that resolution. Now, we would recommend that the tax rate be cut to at least accommodate that found $1 million, in addition to something for the $875,000. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry to
Thank you
run
very
over.
much.
Anyone else? Last call. If not,
May I make a
I'll have a
motion?
motion.
Make a motion and we close the public hearing.
Second?
Second.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I declare it. Public hearing is closed. Now present Ms. Tara Nichols. You have the floor.
Good evening. Before you, you have the proposed budget ordinance and the fee schedule for fiscal year 25-26. In this town council packet, we've also included the worksheets that we have used to determine the budgets for the general fund, Powell bill fund, accommodation tax fund, and beach erosion fund. The budget meetings with town council began in February and included discussions with mayor and council and staff members on the specific departmental needs. The council reached a consensus for this proposed budget, totaling $12,224,140. I actually had found where I had overlooked one of the nonprofit requests and had have added that into this, which was for $3,000. And so we have that as part of the final proposed budget, which was the $12,227,140. This budget does include an appropriation from the assigned fund balance for the inspections department in the amount of $52,000, and this is for purchase of a truck.
For what? I'm sorry.
The purchase of a truck of a vehicle.
Okay, thank you.
Tara, excuse me, Tara. Do we have to okay that nonprofit, or that is okay? Just
It's part of the proposed budget. So if you were to approve the budget as proposed,
okay.
then it would just
Thank
be
you.
in there. I was just highlighting that that was a change
Mhm.
that was made.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that.
The general fund budget does not include a tax increase and maintains the tax rate at 16 cents per $100 valuation. I do want to address the special assessment revenue line. That does include the $875,000. This is the dredging special assessment that is being addressed at a later date. The revenue line shows what we anticipate as an estimate for this next fiscal year. At this time, we don't see the need to delay the budget regarding this assessment because if there was a change to this or if it was determined to be something different, we would just delay the purchase of some of the capital items. Part of this budget, the 1.1 million of this budget is capital items. And so we can delay or just readjust those items. And when we purchase them, or if we purchase them, it would be a discussion between town council and staff in a meeting setting and as an amendment.
So if I understand you correctly, you're saying the 875 from the assessment, dredging assessment, goes back into the general fund. And that's where part of it is allocated against the $1.1 million of acquisitions we have programmed for this year.
Yeah,
Which was
that's how
what-
we would address it, is with the capital items if there was a change in that revenue line.
And if that 875 doesn't come in, then what happens?
We would adjust the purchases of the capital items.
the vehicles and stuff like that, the
Correct.
beach equipment
Yeah,
and
it
the
would,
other items. that
we
were-
would have to come back together with department staff and town council and make that determination.
Thank you.
Mhm. So this shows that the Powell Fund is budgeted at 200,000. This matches the anticipated revenues and does not include an appropriation of fund balance. The accommodation tax fund budget now has 3 areas to make it more transparent and easier for each of those areas to be able to follow what their budgeted amounts are. This fund does not carry a fund balance due to that amount being transferred into general fund at fiscal year end for tourism related expenditures per House bill. The beach erosion fund is budgeted at $530,000 and does not include an appropriation of fund balance from the beach erosion fund at this time. The current fee schedule is attached, and all the proposed changes for the fee schedule are highlighted in red. I also have included in the packet the budget message that gives a more detailed description of everything that we have went through throughout the budget sessions. And so, yes.
I just want to make sure I have it clear in my mind. The vehicles we're looking to purchase for police, those are not new, they are replacement vehicles.
Correct.
For vehicles that have been on the road for 3 to 4 years or more.
Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be the replacement vehicles that we would look at. It would
They're
be
not
a
additional. They're
discussion.
not additional vehicles.
We
they're-
would know very close to the beginning of the year if there's a change
Right.
to this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're replacement, not additional.
correct. Yeah.
And we didn't factor in the amount of funds we would get if we put them on gov deals.
Oh yeah.
And
No,
that has not been factored in yet.
we had. Yeah, that's not budgeted at this
Because we
time.
would never know what it would be until we did it.
Correct.
Okay.
It goes through like an auction type
Yeah.
process. So. I'm happy to answer any other questions if there's any other questions.
Council got any
There was a
questions?
question about the general fund being at 94% and recommended 75%.
The recommended 75% is a minimum.
By whom?
That was a discussion that town council had years ago of where they felt comfortable with the minimum fund balance being set at. And that has just been part of our budget process of how we have looked at it
Yeah.
going forward.
And where did that 75% come from? That wasn't just a figure pulled
Town
out of
council
the air.
discussions and looking at where we're located. So we're located on the coast and we have susceptibility to storms and things like that. It's not a statutory minimum. It's just there's peer groups that
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
from the local government commission, which is who looks at all of our finances and who I report to every year, and we get audited and things like that. And so we have a peer group that we are put into, and all of those are above 75%.
Is that the North Carolina League of Municipalities?
No, this is the local government commission. It's through the state treasurer's department.
Okay, so my recollection going back a number of years, it was through the state treasurer's department in terms of prudent fiscal policies for a town like ours on the beach, is they should have a fund of at least 75% minimum. Is there some point if you get below that point where they step in to take control?
And they take multiple factors into consideration with that.
Okay,
It's not just that one percentage.
okay.
They look at the whole picture.
Okay, and so again, my recollection is back when we had that discussion of 75%, that was a prudent minimum level to keep, and we should aim for a higher point
Yeah.
to be able to keep operating if we did have a very serious storm take place, such as we saw in Western Carolina this
Yeah.
past year. And that's what it's for.
I mean,
Okay.
so you want to be able to continue to operate as well as offer the services that the citizens need during those times. And I can say that I know with the response for Hurricane Helene, there are municipalities in Western North Carolina taking loans out from the state of North Carolina because they didn't have the fund balance to be able to continue and provide the services that they needed. So now they borrowed money from the state in order to continue to provide what they need for their citizens. And we don't want to be in that situation.
Thank you.
That's a good plan.
Anything else?
So when we get to the dredging project next week, you'll talk about where that money goes and why it goes and how it goes.
Yeah, I have I have an illustration
and
of
why
how
it's-
that happens.
Okay, and it's not part of this budget.
No,
No.
that doesn't affect this budget at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Any member of council got anything else? In regards to the emails, I know you all seen that email today. Did anybody have any consideration on that?
Which one was that? The
When
traffic
it
study?
came in later about the traffic study, yeah, that was requested again today. I don't think them people are gonna be here, but did y'all have any consideration or anything off that?
I can make it in regard to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let me take a moment to respond regarding there's been several requests to council in the past few months regarding funding an engineered parking study, and adding that to the 25-26 budget. The request has been made by a citizen to do just that in writing to us. And she did that regarding the budget and the preparation of the budget.
And they had a petition too.
And they had a petition also. And I certainly respect this person. I've got to know this person very well. We debate. We don't always agree on parking and what's happened, but we're beginning to agree on things, which is good. And but I really do respect this person. And as I studied this request, and I sat down after we got done with the meeting in May, I began to work a little bit on trying to figure out what is a professional parking study. As I've been talking to people, I've been asking that question on the island, and for people who have contacted me even off the island in the mainland, and people were having difficulty telling me what that was. So I began to research that question, at the same time looking back at the work the parking committee did and trying to come up with some kind of a theory moving forward, and saying basically, did the parking committee do its job properly? And what is a professional parking study? And what I did in looking at all kinds of, I looked at companies that did these things, I looked at just general discussion online, all that kind of stuff. What I came up with as I did this were 4 key components to a professional parking study. What does a professional parking study entail? And if you look at all these companies, that some people have 6 steps, some companies 3 steps. It's the main steps I just kept coming into over and over again. And there's 4 of them. There's 4 of them. These are chronological order, what you do first, second, third, and fourth. The first thing any good parking study does, professional parking study, is an inventory of existing parking facilities and spaces. That's number 1. That's what you do. And the parking committee had its very first task, is to inventory all the available parking on the island, including the spaces not controlled by the town. Now, this was not easy. You may say, boy, that's an easy one. You just go out and count spaces. But don't forget, we had random parking on our island. And you take Main Street, for example, or take North Main Street, for example. We sent 5 people out to count parking places on Main Street on the north side. Guess what? They came back with 14 different numbers, because these are random, and you just say, that should be a parking place, that should be a parking place. And eventually we settled on a number. As we got through our study, we settled on a number. That number I've talked to people about is about 580 places. The second part of a good parking study the second stage is an analysis of current parking conditions and utilization. The parking committee found that unmarked parallel roadside parking was an inefficient and impractical use of space. The system caused confusion regarding where it was legal to park. Additionally, this method of parking created safety concerns. For example, and I've talked about these before, lack of sight lines for vehicles coming out of driveways, and congestion of parked cars that interfered with walkers, bicyclists on the roads and walking on the roads, basically, in particular on Main Street. In addition, mailboxes were frequently blocked, preventing the delivery of mail. And the overall analysis of the parking committee was random system of parking with no organization didn't work. Wasn't a very safe system of parking. The third step that always takes as part of a professional parking study is looking at future needs. One of the key components to our parking study was the awareness, and I think everybody here will know this, of the proliferation of new developments in our area, in Brunswick County, and the influx of visitors that would be coming to our island. I sent an article out to the people up here this past week, and it talked about in Brunswick County right now, there's 46,000 new homes approved for Brunswick County. Some of them have been built, not a lot of them. Some of them have been built. But our committee's goal then, as they address this issue, was not to increase parking because of all these new developments, not to increase public availability because of all these new developments, but to clearly designate and create a finite number of spaces for a small island. And that's what they did. That was part of the parking plan. Not to try to put 2,000 more cars on Sunset Beach, where our island is too small, but to pick a number. That number became the 580. Pick a number, that's what we'll do, that's what we'll have, that's all we'll have, and if parking's not available, that's the way it is. And the final part, after you look at projection, is how are you going to improve your parking management? What are going to be your steps to improve parking management? And the committee strongly felt that the key to improving the management of parking on the island was to establish an organized system of parking that would emphasize designated and differentiated parking. Designated parking, as we know, this tells you where a parking place is. Differentiated, we have two levels of that based on cars and trucks for larger spaces, smaller spaces for LSVs, golf carts, motorcycles. In other words, clearly show people where they can park, not where they cannot park. So that's how generally the parking committee is going to improve parking management. So I think as I got into all this and became tearing the parking plan apart and doing all this, my conclusion was our parking committee produced a document containing all the key elements of a professional parking study at no cost to our taxpayers. Therefore, I recommend that there's really no need for council to add a cost of professional parking study to our 25-26 budget. I felt very good with how well our parking study measured up to these four key elements that I found in almost every parking study I looked at online. And that's just my feeling with the depth of research that I did and with my background, of course, with doing all the parking stuff. Any comments from up here?
Question.
Yes, sir.
On February 18th, there was a meeting with NCDOT and our engineers. What was their opinion about the need for an additional parking study?
Well, at that time, we were able to, John was talking about a meeting we had. This was the meeting we had with NCDOT to work on Main Street. Okay?
Yeah.
It was the one to work on Main Street. That's after NCDOT got involved with us and said, we love your plan. And that was the one thing they said loud and clear. But we have a problem with how you're designated parking on Main Street, and we just don't like it. And then we asked for a meeting. We all sat down. They brought 4 engineers, more engineers than I've ever seen together for parking. And our engineer was there, of course, and we were there. And it took us, I think, all of 20 minutes to a half an hour to come up with a new plan that we're working on now and putting together now. And basically, they felt very strongly at that meeting that by doing this designated parking, we will fulfill their requirements that they were looking for us to fulfill. They were very happy with it if we did this, The safety would be there. The parking places will be there. The safety even for cars driving along Main Street that may run off the road and go up on one of our designated parking places will just feel a little bump and that's it. So there'll be no danger for hitting curb stops going off the road and all that kind of stuff. So we felt pretty good leaving that meeting. They gave us the okay, and we have been working on those designated parking places that the state is requiring. And right now we're in a position where we have turned over to them our final plans for the western end of Main Street, just the western end. We decided to do it in 2 parts. The reasoning was that by doing it in 2 parts, we can go faster and get one part up and running and get one part done and then start working on the second part. So Western Main Street is what we're working on right now. We have given them everything they've given us. We've given them 2 days or less turnover on every document they've given us. Right now, they've had the parking plan final for about, at least I think it's about a week, right? They've had it now close to a week or something like that. So we're hoping for a quick turnaround there. If that turnaround occurs, then they will give us their blessing on the plan, the concept, and that's all it is, the concept and the plan. And then we can go out to bid. And meantime, we're going to be working with people in Western Main Street, the homeowners, property owners in Western Main Street, on any encroachment to the right of way. When there's a few of those, we've got to work with people on, and then get with them as the plan it comes out. If it's okay, get with them with letters, pictures of where the parking is in front of their homes, and making sure they feel good about that. So we've got a lot of work to do. And that's what takes up a lot of time, but we're doing it the right way. We're doing it with NCDOT's blessing, and we feel pretty positive about it. They went overboard answering your questions.
With those comments, I'm comfortable, and I've been following this, I'm comfortable that we do not need to do a professional study or add that into the budget.
Anything else? If not, what's the pleasure of council in regards to the budget?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah,
Move to consider or move for adoption of the fiscal year 25-26 budget. Establish the fiscal year 25-26 tax rate at 16 cents per 100 of valuation, and approve the fiscal year 25-26 fee schedule.
Motion's on the floor. Is there a second?
Second. I second.
All right. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Terry.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Tara.
Next up, be an election to fill a council vacancy. I know each one of you's read out your information. I don't know if it needs to be read out to the public. You've had, all this has been out, Lisa, so it's just a matter of selecting your method that you'd like to vote. That's where we're at with it. So what is the pleasure of council in regards to your method of voting?
So go ahead, John.
You got your choices here on your paper.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
Go ahead.
I think we should, each candidate should step up. We'll give them 5 minutes. They should talk about themselves, what they have. I think each council person should be able to ask at least one question of the candidate, not necessarily the same one to each. And that afterwards we should vote.
Do we do a
Vote by voice or vote by written?
voice or written?
Written vote. And
Written
it'll
vote.
be given to our town clerk. She can tabulate it and give it to the mayor for.
And then report back who voted for which candidate. Is that correct?
Sure.
I'd like to suggest in addition that because of asking questions, and you might want to ask the same question to each candidate, and so if the third candidate hears the first candidate, they'll be more prepared. I make a recommendation, and we'll see what you think about this, of getting the 3 candidates and putting them out in the hallway or in a break room, and one at a time comes and talks before us, and makes their presentation. We can ask questions, and that person then can sit down here, and then we go to the second person.
Well, my comment on that is that you can't rephrase your question in another way other than the same one to each person, then you obviously, asking the same question is not going to help. I mean, you can rephrase it based on what they tell us when they're talking. I don't think they should be in the silenced room and carted in one at a time. But that's just me. That's my opinion.
I don't think you should subject yourself to one question per council member. If a council member has 2 questions or 3, I would think it would be the time, because this is people that you're going to put in a position to be hopefully helping lead this town in the right direction. So I would hope that if you had a couple of questions, that would be able to be asked.
I agree with that. What I was saying, Michael, was if you put together a question you think is very important that the candidate should answer, and you could ask the same question to people who are sitting here, but it does tip off the others. And if we get them away a little bit and just do one at a time in here, then we can discuss and talk, and possibly, we don't have to ask the same question, but it depends what they say. Just like you said, you might come up with a question on what somebody says, but most of us have probably put together a question or two, and so.
I can go that way too. I mean, I just don't think that it sounds like a game show, folks.
Well, it's not a game show, I'll tell you that.
No game
at
show.
all.
Good question.
This is not a game show.
I know it
This
isn't.
is important stuff.
I know
Oh,
it
boy.
isn't.
John, what do you think?
Lisa, is there any precedent or guidelines? We just, in this case, we make up the rules as we go?
We got this one, okay.
I don't know why we can't just, each of us state our choice and why we made the choice, or not, why we chose the person we choose, or why we didn't choose the other 2.
I think
Yes.
if you don't know the 3 candidates, okay, it's pretty hard to make a choice on why you don't want somebody.
Yeah.
I think it's a good choice to hear all 3 candidates if they're here and find out what they have
All
to
in the
say.
same room.
I mean, I may not know the same people you know
Yeah.
of the 3.
Yeah.
And I think it would be unfair to one of them. So I think just
Yeah.
listening to them, maybe they'll awaken me.
But to me,
So I'm
Okay.
comfortable with all 3 candidates being in a room, giving their presentation, each one individually getting a couple questions from the council, and then the council then do a written ballot we give to.
Are the candidates here?
Some are.
2 are,
2.
okay.
well, the thing I asked for to be established was how you wanted to vote. You said that by the written with the clerk, so that's
Yes.
where we was at with it.
Yep, that's a wrap.
Well,
So
and
now,
we got the rest of the process in.
yeah. So if we're gonna bring them up, let's bring them up. If you want to bring them up, ever how y'all want to do it, alphabetical order or female first or whatever you want to do.
Alphabetical.
Huh?
Yeah. We don't get to choose their last name.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Is everybody here?
There's 2 here.
Gary,
2.
Reed,
There's 2.
Mr. Reed, Mr.
Gail, no Gail.
Burns.
Okay.
All right. Well, Mr. Burns, your name's last, so if you want to come up first, you can get it started.
I used to hate this in grade school as well. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Town Council, town staff. And my name is Gerard Burns. I live at 432 Marlin Street here in Sunset Beach. First, thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening regarding the open seat of our Town Council. I want to begin first acknowledging Pete Larkin's service to this community. His presence and expertise, both serving on the planning board and on the town council, will be surely missed. I also like to share a bit about my background, not just what's on paper, but the story that shaped who I am and why I feel it's a call to serve this town. I was born in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Please don't hold that against me. But I was raised in a Philadelphia household, one of 9 kids. My business career began in the automotive industry, where I spent 37 years working with General Motors and later as an entrepreneur. At the right age of 44, I made a bold decision to leave corporate career to pursue a lifelong dream of mine, owning and operating 2 car dealerships. That choice wasn't easy, financially or personally, but it was one of the most fulfilling chapters of my life. I had to negotiate multi-million-dollar financing packages, relocated and rebuilt dealerships, and worked tirelessly through economic headwinds, all while keeping employees, customers, and community impact at the forefront. It taught me how to lead with resolve, collaboration across sectors, and the fight for what I believe in. But the story that brings me here tonight starts in 1990, when General Motors relocated me to town of Charlotte. It was that move that first brought my family to Sunset Beach in search of a new vacation spot. And I can honestly say, for the first time, we crossed that old pontoon bridge. We knew this was a place with something special. So over the next 20 years, Sunset Beach was our sanctuary. My 3 daughters grew up playing in the surf, searching for shells and the ultimate body surfer with the waves. It was a place where we experienced the best of small town life, where neighbors waved, the shops were closed on Sunday, and time slowed just enough to let the important things in. When I finally retired and bought the house in 2018, it wasn't a decision, it was a homecoming here. And since 2021, I've been proud to serve on the planning board 3+ years, helping preserve the character of Sunset Beach while guiding smart projects like the rewriting of the town's unified development ordinances, revitalization of the Sea Trail golf courses and their amenities, and just most recently, the Angel Trace community. As our population has more than doubled in recent years, growing over 114% since 2000, we face real challenges. We also have once-in-a-generation opportunity, an opportunity to protect the very things that make Sunset Beach unique: our ocean, our beaches, and the dunes, and our quiet way of life. While fostering year-round development that supports the residents, small businesses, and a vibrant local economy. I bring decades of leadership, real-world experience, business experience, and a deep personal love for this town. I know what it means to take a risk, to see the long game, and to fight for a better future. And I want to do that for Sunset Beach. I would be honored to continue serving this community, helping to ensure that future generations, like mine, daughters and grandchildren now, will fall in love with Sunset Beach. Thank you.
Any member of council have any questions for Mr. Burns?
I do.
Go ahead, sir.
Please.
In your 3.5 years on the planning board, what project or issue do you find the most challenging and why?
There was quite a few. I would say, I think the revitalization of Sea Trails and that community and that amenities that Sea Trail is doing. That was a very long process through several meetings, several town meetings, but it was done in favor of the people who live in Sea Trails. They wanted that development to happen. So, but that is probably the most significant, along with being the UDO, rewriting the UDO, which is another good example.
Anybody else?
Jerry, let me ask you one. To be successful in any organization, or in this case in town council, you must be able to work with other people. You've got to be able to work with other people. And I think you've had some definitely experience with that working on the planning board. What qualities do you possess that would make you successful in an environment like this town council?
As I mentioned, the collaboration in between different parties that I have to deal with at General Motors is to reach across sometimes the aisle to make things happen. I think that being raised with a big family also lends itself to that type of communication and making sure that everybody is aware.
Thank you.
Is there something that strikes you, a situation of Sunset Beach that is the most negative aspect, the greatest concern of you that we should be trying to address?
Well, I think Michael alluded to it earlier. I think the parking situation, though it was a very difficult process to go through, I think that's one area that has some concern. Living on the island, there is some people are still upset about it. So that would be the first thing that I would say.
Okay, I only asked for one, so you can stop there.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone
I
else?
don't really have any questions, but you served on the planning board and made some of the biggest decisions this town had to face. Did you feel comfortable with your decision?
I think the decisions that I personally made, I think were always in step with the town council. I know there's one development that I was for, and the planning board turned it down, but eventually it came to council and it was approved. So I think I've been step in step with the town council in the direction that the town's going.
Thank you.
One last.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Who do you consider your constituents if you become a town council?
My constituents.
Yeah.
I think it's everybody. I think it's the whole town. It's all the homeowners would be my constituents.
Anyone
I
else?
don't have any more questions.
I'm good.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you very
sir.
much.
Okay, you'd be the next one.
So, thanks again for giving me the opportunity to.
We got Mike.
Hello.
Yes, on.
Is it
Go
on?
ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity to serve as interim councilman. I liked Pete a lot, and hate to see him go. But so anyhow, my name is Reed Watson, and I'm kind of a new kid on the block here. I've been here about 4 years. Live on Riverside Drive for 2 years. Lived in Sea Trails the previous 2 years, and I met most of you during my interviews for the BOA for the Board of Adjustments. So I'm not a complete unknown to you, but haven't had much interface with you. But so anyhow, my wife Diana and I moved here about in 2021, and we both hold a belief that we should share our talents with the community. So we want to give our time and efforts to that. I'm a licensed professional engineer. Still maintain my license. I have over 40 years of experience in power plant design, development, execution, construction, maintenance, so forth and so on. As a matter of fact, the lights that are on here today, some of my work I did on Southport back in the 70s. So I've been in that business my entire career, or electrical power plant development. And these duties included working with other engineers, also having to work with government regulatory agencies on federal level and as on local levels. So I have a lot of experience with that. Also looking at the policies, the protocols, the codes, so forth and so on, as far as making that work. And I think that those talents that I have developed over the years will be a good benefit to Sunset Beach. Sunset Beach is growing. It has growing pains, as we've all have witnessed, and I'd like to be able to contribute to that resolution of those issues that we find ourselves facing. On a more personal note, we love living here, and our extended family of 10 grandchildren and 4 children love it here too, and we have a deep desire to keep this as a family beach vibe going, and so other families can enjoy it here as well. So that's all I have to say. Kind of a nutshell, but I'm open to any questions you may have.
Any member council got any questions?
I do.
Watson? Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Watson,
Mhm.
were you part of the dredging suit brought against the town?
So I will say that I am in alignment with the plaintiff that filed that suit. I'm not officially
Was
on
your
that
name
suit.
on the suit?
No, no, sir.
Okay. I just, seems to me there'd be a big conflict of interest if you were on the council.
Could be,
Thank
but
you.
I just want to. I guess we're in a line that we want to make sure that the assessment is done per state statutes and protocols, and is fair to everyone involved.
Thank you.
Got a question. As
Mhm.
far as town council obviously interacts with the town staff a lot.
Right.
What do you think is the biggest attribute in that the town staff you would look for in a town staff member?
Well, first of all, they have to have patience and learn to listen and take that information in, and be very respectful to others' opinions, and very active in trying to meet any questions that may come up.
What do you see are major problems or major challenges in the future on the council as we develop, as Sea Trail grows out to the
Mhm.
many units that could be added there, as Angel Trace moves out with the 1,500 units that could be added there.
Right, it's hard to say. There's a lot of development going on.
Yeah.
And I guess one thing I would be very tuned into making sure that the taxpayers' money and taxes are going towards what we think it should go towards as a collective, and know that the public's opinion is behind us with that. And that would take reaching out to the public and informing them and educating them and educating ourselves on what the issues are.
Thank you.
Just a quick question. What is your strategy for dealing with people, whether it be if you're up here in council or dealing with citizens? How would you deal with people who disagree with you?
Well, first of all, you have to listen to them and find out what their real issue is. And then try to talk common sense to them. If they're open to that, then just continue the conversation. You have to be somewhat emotional, have to remove yourself from the, from the excitement of the activity, and just be very calm. I tell folks that at one time we had 4 teenagers in our house. So that was crisis management right there, 101. Okay. So,
Good point. Thank you.
I do have a question for you, Mike. On
Yes,
the
sir.
parking thing.
Yes, sir.
You talk about the NCDOT being involved, and that's all fine and good. And they talk about safety. You were talking about the recommendations on other streets, not Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear you mention public safety. And I witnessed this firsthand, safety of pedestrians, bicyclists, children, very excited to go to the beach, especially on North Shore East.
Mhm.
There's parking's on both sides, and it's a narrow street.
Mhm.
As far as egress, as far as emergency vehicles, there's no place to walk.
Mhm.
There's rocks out in the road from the gravel that's put in there with the bumps that makes it difficult to walk. So I'd like to have a little bit more information on this parking assessment from a public safety standpoint, not just on Main Street, but the other streets.
Yeah, see me afterwards. We can talk about that.
Okay.
We can talk about that.
Good.
This is not the forum to
I
do that.
understand. I just wanted
See
to.
me anytime or call me anytime. That's for sure. Everybody does.
But I know that,
That's not a problem.
that you had your say, so I thought I'd use my time to do that.
Okay.
5 minutes up now?
Pretty close.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you said the other lady that put in, she's not here,
She's
correct?
not here.
Okay.
All right. With that
Good.
being that, y'all want to give your ballots out, y'all can do your vote.
You have ballots
You're
for
not
us?
prepared, you are
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah.
Good job.
We take 2 minutes. We take a couple minutes.
Whatever you need to.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much.
Poor Josh.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's good, the mayor.
He's going to the mayor, right?
Either one or Kimberly, it don't matter. She's just gonna tell him.
Go to Kimberly.
You can hand it to me. It won't matter. I think she's already got them
Oh, I gotta
briefed
put my
down.
name, oh,
so-
she's got my name on it.
Yeah, the names are on it.
Okay, yeah, we'll put
Yeah.
it down here.
So,
right there.
so what, he refused to vote?
No, he's going to, he's,
He's going to Boys Run.
I guess he's needed to go.
Yeah.
Bear with us 1 second. What happens when you deal with all these seniors?
Yeah.
Can't hold the bladder for 2 minutes. Charlie over there, he's
Well,
good.
Well,
He's the
speak
man.
for yourself, young guy.
Yeah, you go all the time. So
We don't need this
just
discussion,
a minute,
guys.
just a minute.
This is not a discussion for this.
It won't take about a minute. Okay. Fine. He's got your ballot made out.
Yeah. Let Reed come.
Yeah, I'll be. Yeah, pull it. Thank you.
Read. Just call me when you have a chance.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're going back in. Go ahead, John.
I'd like to make one comment here. Series of comments. First, both Reed and Jerry, thank you very much for stepping forward in a short period of time to volunteer to be considered for finishing out Pete Larkin's term in December. And just so that everybody is clear, if either of these two candidates also want to run for a council position in the election, you still have to go through and register with the Board of Elections between 7 and 18 July to be considered as a candidate. This position runs through the swearing in of the new candidates in December, the December meeting. So just to make sure you're clear on that, and thank you very much for stepping forward at this time.
Anyone else? I guess that's Nern. Gerald Burns. Hardgrave, Gerald Burns. Corbett, Gerald Burns. Osdell, Gerald Burns.
Mhm.
So, Mr. Burns, I'll see you on the 14th of July.
Okay. Again, thanks both of you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Reed.
Yes, thank you very much. That was great.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to have to leave now.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Charlie. Our next portion of the meeting will be going on to our public comments.
Let him get
I am.
Okay.
I'm just
Thank you.
announcing where it's gonna be. will be our public comments time. Anyone that'd like to come up on any item that's left on the agenda would be welcome to come up at this time. Go ahead, sir.
My name's John Farrell. I live at 624 Oyster Bay Drive. Later on in this meeting, you're going to take action on new appointments for the Environmental Resource Committee. There, with my resignation, there is an extra spot to be filled. There's two other current members who are seeking reappointment. And I understand there have been two people from the community that have shown interest as well. I understand that consideration is being made to expand the ERC from 7 members to 8 members and make some other adjustments in the way they run meetings. And I support those things wholeheartedly. Although there is one thing I would ask the council to consider. Instead of just limiting the expansion to 8 members, I would ask you to expand to 9 members. That will leave an open seat, but I think it would be a good step to take to have an open position to be filled at a later date. There may be other changes that take place along the way with reappointments or with other resignations or whatever. We don't know right now. But when we go for filling new members and more people show up, expanding the ERC to 9 members would be a great service to the community of Sunset Beach. And that would be my request for your actions tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Anyone else on
Thank-
agenda items?
Thank you for your leadership of the ERC. It's been very good.
For many years.
Any more on agenda items? If not, we'll move on. All right, consent agenda. From the regular meeting minutes from the May 5th meeting, the the special called meeting on the 14th of May, and then our monthly reports with the building inspection, finance, fire, police, and public works. Does any member of council have any questions for these?
I do not.
I do not.
Not, do I have a motion to accept this?
So move.
Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any member of staff that doesn't have anything else is welcome to go home. Thank you. Town administrator reports next. Go ahead, Ms. England.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things for you tonight. For the paid parking, with it being today, just June 2nd, I was unable to get the revenue numbers for May. I will report those at the June 13th meeting when you all meet again. Regarding the C-Trail stop signs that were installed while the Calabash River Bridge was closed, Chief Claymore and I have met and discussed and reviewed that area and have come to the decision that we will be keeping the signs that are at both ends of Crooked Gully Circle and removing the signs at C-Trail Drive West. We will continue to monitor the C-Trail Drive West area, and if the problem comes up again, then we'll look at it again to put those signs back. But for the time period, we're going to remove the sign at C-Trail Drive West.
Is that all 3 signs? Are there 3 signs?
Just the 2 that are on Clubhouse. The
Oh,
C-Trail
Clubhouse.
Drive West stop sign will remain.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. On the 429 4th Street, the town will be installing a perimeter fence around the property later this week as we begin the process for repairing the property as directed by the town council during the May 14th meeting. Hurricane passes were mailed earlier last month to the island property owners. If you did not receive your passes, please contact Town Hall. And residents are encouraged to review the emergency preparedness information on the town website. Last month, I reported that pre-applications had been submitted for repairs or replacements of the walkways located at 5th, 7th, and 32nd Street. Last week, we were notified by the state that they had received 21 applications requesting $4.2 million in funding, which far exceeded the $2.4 million they had available. The state gave priority to projects that were creating new public access ways rather than repair and rebuilds as we have been funded in the past. So basically, our projects for 5th, 7th, and 32nd Streets were not funded for this cycle. The town does have an open grant with the state for the Majestic Oaks Park development that will be creating a new public beach access to the waterways. 3 current projects that we're working on right now: the Jinks Creek Realignment Project. We are reviewing, staff is finalizing the review of the RFQs that we've received from the dredging consulting firms, and I will be requesting that this be added to the June 13th special meeting agenda for you all to authorize me to negotiate the scope of work contract with the chosen firm.
Is that Palm Cove?
Yes.
That's Palm Cove.
Yes.
That you talk about there. Okay.
The Main Street parking, as Councilman Hargrave stated, the surveying work has been completed and the engineerings are now working with DOT on the designation of parking spaces on the site plans. And then the Majestic Oaks Park, the engineers are continuing and preparing to go for the CAMA major permit application for submittal soon. I continue to offer my Thursdays from 1 to 3 to meet with anybody who from the public who would like to come and sit and ask me any questions, and I'll try my best to answer anything that you have. And if I don't have the answer, I'll get it for you. With the summer season upon us and in my continued efforts of outreach to the community, we are going to set up a town information booth at each town sponsored event, the concerts, the markets, Sunset at Sunset, etc., in hopes that citizens will stop by and ask us questions. Each department will be represented in the booth as the town staff rotates through the different events. I think it's noteworthy to mention for the public to know that most of the department heads and I have upwards of 20 plus years of North Carolina experience in local government in our respective fields. And I welcome you to come and meet with any staff member, any department head, and ask us any questions that you have concerns with. And then lastly, I'd like to take a few minutes to correct some misinformation that is circulating on social media regarding the status of the finance director position. Tara has been an employee by the town of Sunset Beach since September 2018 continuously. Over the years, life events have occurred that shifted Tara's employment status from full-time to part-time on several occasions. However, through it all, Tara has remained a constant, loyal, and faithful employee for the town of Sunset Beach for the past 6.5 years. The town council had hired a recruiter, and that recruiter found applicants. And through our efforts as town staff, we also found applicants. Those applicants were vetted, interviews were conducted, but we were unable to successfully find an applicant that checked all the required boxes and was the right fit that we felt for the town of Sunset Beach. With that, it is my pleasure to announce to you that Tara is now rejoining the town of Sunset Beach in a full-time capacity as the finance director for the town of Sunset Beach. Those interested are encouraged to schedule an appointment with Tara to obtain answers to your questions regarding the finance department and its operations. Thank you.
Hey, member of
Good.
council got any questions? for
Welcome
Ms.
back, Tara.
Yes, welcome back.
Thank you.
No questions for Ms. Angel? No. All right, thank you. We'll be moving on to new business, our fiscal year-end budget. amendments? Ms. England? I'm sorry, Mayor. Ms. Nichols?
So this is for our current budget, that we're in right now, the current year. There are multiple lines that need to be adjusted for different reasons. I went through each of these in the cover sheet for this amendment. I did not have to appropriate any fund balance to adjust any of these lines. There was additional revenues that came in above estimates that were able to cover the additional expenses and different things that we have gone through with decisions that council had made that basically cleaning up the expenditure lines. No single department was over budget, however, so this is it's just like an accounting cleanup.
Is there any negative impact on our accounts?
No.
It looks like it's all positive on our accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 100% positive.
Yeah. The revenues that came in over estimates are what are covering the adjustments in the expenditures.
Okay.
Good.
What's the motion of council in regards to the budget amendment?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the attached budget amendment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tara.
And we'll be skipping to 12.3. About the ERC members in regards to changing into an informal monthly meeting, looking at going into extra members. What is the pleasure of council in regards to this?
Lisa, you're gonna explain to us anything here? Now, I agree with this as being a positive idea. I just want to make sure people understand what your thought was and where we're going.
Sure. As we have met with ERC committee and the tree board over the past few months, it is very evident that both of these committee boards are interested in doing outreach projects. And in that takes a lot of planning, a lot of hours of planning. And it's very difficult to plan events while you're sitting in this type of setting. It's a much better environment when you are around a round table in a relaxed atmosphere where you can bounce ideas off of each other and come up with plans of action and projects that you would like to see achieved, and get buy-in from all of your committee or board members, and then assign tasks as each individual member brings their own talents to the board or the committee. And as I spoke with each one of the committee members, they echoed that same desire to be able to work in that type of informal setting. One of the big things that the tree board will do immediately is to do an inventory of the town trees that are on town property. And in order to do that, they are going to need some educational pieces from arborists and other experts in the field that will be able to teach them as we go through this exercise of inventory and of the town trees. That just gives you one example of that. And I echo John Farrell's sentiment exactly, to increase the board to whatever you feel is appropriate. I would be okay with saying that there's not a limit on how many members, because again, the purpose of these two groups is community outreach, to teach the community about trees, about the environment, about climate, about shoreline plantings and stormwater ponds and everything that they've been involved in. And the more community that we can get involved with helping us to plan these things, the more the community will take ownership of those things as well. So if you're good with it, the only thing that will change is that the meetings will not be held in this room, and they will not be aired on YouTube. They will be held in the room beside us, around the conference room table, for everybody to sit and discuss their ideas and come up with their action plans. And then I will report, or one of the members can come and report to the town council, monthly, quarterly. It just depends on how fast they get going on what projects. The tree board already has an established budget that is in the 25-26 budget as per the Tree City designation requires. And then the ERC has budgeted money in the Parks and Rec budget that Amy controls. So with that, the meetings will be noticed just like they are now. They'll be open to the public, for the public to come. There'll be minutes taken of the meetings that will be added to the website, just as normal. We just won't take up, 2 or 3 hours of YouTube airtime. Does that answer
So we're
your
looking for
question?
two things here.
So,
Looking for two things, going from a board to an informal board. That is one,
Mm-hmm.
and then just establishing how many members they want. So that's the two that would be in a motion. That's what we need to two things.
Mr. Farrell also brought up 9 members as opposed to 8 members.
He did.
Yeah.
And I agree with him.
So that'd be something, whatever y'all's recommendation is, if you go that way, to take us into that, you'd put in ever how many members you want. Let's go ahead and put it in one motion.
Okay.
Now,
Can,
okay, go ahead, finish what you're saying.
I was going to say, may I make a combined motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to, and then we have a discussion, right? Okay, I'd like to make a motion first that we approve the informal structure meeting with 9 members for the ERC. And then second, that we appoint Candace Seaburn to the Environmental Resource Committee's expired term, appoint Steve Levine to the ERC expired term, appoint John Rothermel to the ERC unexpired term, and to Diddy Layton to the ERC new term. That's it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'll stay with- Yeah, I'm okay. All right.
That's it.
I was going to say.
That's it.
All right, you covered the next one in that, so we can skip over that because that was covered in that. So the two that asked for rething and then the two that come in, all come in. Next, we will be looking for appointments on the Board of Adjustment. What's the pleasure of council in regards to this one?
You want to do that or want me to do it?
Any- Somebody else take a turn.
Okay. I make a motion to appoint David Tucker as a alternate member to the, I believe that's an alternate member, right, Lisa? To the Board of Adjustment.
And the ERC, I mean, the
Board of Adjustment.
That's it.
ETJ.
Oh, I'm sorry. And also recommend that recommends the County Board of Commissioners now. They need to appoint this next one, to appoint Karen Hall to the Town of Sunset Beach Board of Adjustment
ETJ member. That must be appointed by the Brunswick County Board of Commissioners. All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next up, appointment to the alternate representative to the G-Stats, and that's where Mr. Larkin came off. What's the pleasure of council in regards to putting somebody on this as the alternate? You want to do that way?
Sure. We have traditionally had a primary and an alternate. I'm the primary, and I'm not going to be running for election, so I won't be here next year. So it'd be good to have an alternate on board now to get some experience. And with that in mind, I would like to appoint Mike Posel as the alternate GSAT representative.
Second. Any more discussion? That good with you? All in favor?
Don't you dare say no.
Aye.
All right, disposition of directives. our dredging fund. We will, like I said, we'll wait till the state comes up with that.
Mhm.
And then, of course, our meeting got changed to July the 14th instead of July the 7th. Any member of council have anything else on the direct?
And then add the Palm Cove for the 13th.
Palm Cove on the 13th special meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we want to delete review of the town code park rules.
You can just delete Member Larkin's name there.
And leave it vacant?
Amy and I are starting to review those.
Okay.
Okay.
Staff will do it.
Good. All right. Anything else? If not, we'll move on to the public comments. Does anybody have any comments in regards to anything? All right. If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.